It was Christmas time, and I had just arrived from Lagos. The excitement of the holidays filled the air as people rushed to visit their families. My parents had gone to the village for the celebration, and I was planning to join them soon. But before heading there, I decided to stop by our family house in town. It had been a while since I was there, and I thought it would be nice to check the place out and maybe even surprise my dad. As I walked into the house, everything seemed normal. The living room smelled of fresh flowers, and the air was warm with the feeling of a home that had been lived in for years. I was just about to head to my father's room when I noticed the door was slightly open. The house was usually quiet during the holidays when everyone was away, but today, something felt different. I stepped closer and pushed the door open slowly. The room was just how I remembered it, with the big wooden bed and the old bookshelf filled with books. But then something caught my eye. There, on the bedside table, were packets of condoms. And they weren't thrown away properly. They were carelessly tossed aside like they didn't matter. My heart skipped a beat. I looked closer. Next to the condoms was a small, open bottle of KY gel. Now, for those who don't know, KY gel is a lubricant used for sex. A cold chill ran down my spine. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. My dad, was he cheating? My head spun with questions. Who could he be seeing? Why would he hide this in his own room? And what about Mum? What if she found out? My stomach twisted with a mix of anger and sadness. This was the man I had looked up to all my life, and now it felt like a lie was being revealed before my eyes. I walked away from the room, my heart beating so loudly I could hear it in my ears. I had to think. Should I tell Mum? Should I tell anyone? What would happen if the truth came out? I didn't know what to do. It felt like I was standing on the edge of something dangerous. If I spoke, it could tear our family apart. If I stayed quiet, the lie would grow, and I would be just as guilty for hiding it. I couldn't stop thinking about Mum. How would she react? What would she do to my dad? I decided to walk outside for a breath of fresh air. My mind was racing. I tried to focus on the good things, but the image of the condoms and the KY gel kept flashing in my head. Could I really keep this secret from Mum? Would she ever forgive me for not telling her? As I sat on the porch, I stared at the stars above. It was Christmas, but everything felt so wrong. The air was heavy, thick with the weight of the decision I had to make. Would I tell her the truth and risk everything, or would I stay quiet and pretend like nothing happened? The next day, I packed my things and headed to the village, where my parents were waiting. The entire ride felt like I was carrying the world on my shoulders. I looked out the window, trying to avoid thinking about the mess I had discovered. But as I neared the village, something inside me told me I couldn't just let it go. Mum greeted me with a warm hug. But I could see it in her eyes, she was tired. She smiled, but it was a smile that didn't reach her eyes. She had always been strong, but something told me she had secrets of her own. I couldn't ignore the feeling that this wasn't just about my dad anymore. There was more to this story than I could see. As we sat around the table, my heart kept racing. I wanted to tell Mum everything, but I didn't know how. Every time I looked at her, I saw the woman who had always taken care of me, always loved me. But I also saw a woman who might be hurt beyond words if I revealed the truth. The secret was tearing me apart. I felt like a liar for not telling her, and I felt like a traitor for even thinking of betraying my dad. This was no longer just about him, it was about the whole family. It was about trust, love, and what it really meant to be family. At that moment, I knew one thing for sure, life was never going to be the same again.